good screenwriter, and that's what I do. Shrek 2 is probably the biggest movie I worked on. I've never thought about how I wound up actually looking into, a book about Torah. It started more in a pursuit of meaning and purpose in life, really.
I was born into what was once the royal family of Swaziland. How would I define the Torah? It's not just a pursuit of wisdom. Torah is life itself.
The anchor of my life is truly my learning. And try to spend most of my early morning hours doing Jewish learning, primarily of the Talmud. And I try to learn also with my son in Israel via phone.
Initially, what got me involved in Torah was the amount that it made sense to me. And I was finally getting answers to all the questions that I was asking.
I'm committed to learning Torah because the information is incredibly valuable. The Almighty gave us instructions for living, how to maximize our life, how to maximize the joy, the happiness, the meaning.
Any possible opportunity He will use to learn.
I mean, why wouldn't I be committed? Who could turn down such an opportunity?
I've been learning since 1999. We have a lot of fun. I feel inspired, and at the end of the sessions, I have real practical tools that I can apply to day-to-day living.
Every Wednesday, 10 to 20 women come into my home and learn. The people that come to our class it's such an eclectic group.
All different age groups. Some have professions, some are full-time moms. Some of them have something of a background, some have no backgrounds at all. I think that these women come to learn Torah because it gives them a meaning and a depth that nothing else really gives them.
I had no idea that I was going in to learn about life.
When I grew up, the Torah was dusty Bible stories, men in robes walking through sand dunes.
Moses. The reason I was disconnected is I had no idea what Judaism was. I really thought it was bagels and dreidels.
Torah always seemed not cool. I mean, there were a lot of things that were cool, but that wasn't one of them.
You know, when I grew up in Toronto, Hebrew school was affectionately known as Jew jail. It was like a sentence.
Nobody enjoyed Hebrew school, whether you grew up observant or you didn't grow up observant. Who enjoyed Hebrew school?
It was so irrelevant, it was so dry, it was torture, and you couldn't wait to escape. And that's what we grew up with.
But today, I don't know, man. Today I sit there and I look at, I go into iTunes and you got Britney Spears and Matis Yahoo.
Torah is the ultimate classic. It is the bestseller of all time. When they hear it, it's true. And they sense it's something from a very deep source. So when they hear Torah, and they know it works, and they sense it, then they're interested, they come back for more.
When people say Torah, they don't know what it is. It's not ritual, it's not dogma. You know what Torah is? Instructions for living.
What is Torah?
Torah is spiritual, historical, mystical.
The word Torah means teachings or instructions. And so the Torah of the Jewish people is called Torat Chaim, instructions for living.
The most complicated piece of equipment on the planet Earth is a human being. And we say our manufacturer in heaven gave us a guidebook. Torah, literal definition, Torat Chaim, instructions for living.
The Torah is the blueprint of life. The Almighty is the architect, and just like an architect unrolls the plans for the building, the Almighty unrolls the Torah scroll and looks into it and sees the building blocks of life. Emotional, physical, spiritual, it's all in the Torah.
There's more to life than just money. There's more to life than just power and wealth. There's happiness. So I was just talking to a friend of mine that graduated Harvard Law School, and he said to me, there's a professor in Harvard that's teaching a class, and he told me it was one of the most popular classes in Harvard on happiness.
Self-help books have been published about it, and now Harvard has a class teaching students the basics of being happy. And lecturer Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar is in charge of the one at Harvard.
The course that I teach is called Positive Psychology. It became the largest class at the university, the largest class in the history of the psychology department.
What does that tell you when Ivy League students are so interested and want to know what it takes to be happy?
We all want to be happy. It's about asking a question, how can I lead a happier life? The answer is in the Torah, and the answer is universal.
This is a book that contains timeless wisdom. It's the only book that a 6-year-old can get something out of, and a 106-year-old can get something out of.
The ideas of Judaism, ideas that were brought to the world a few thousand years ago, still last and still impact every civilization throughout history, every people throughout the world.
There's just no shortage of mediums and abilities to learn Torah today.
I think technology is one of the greatest gifts to enable us to learn today as much as possible wherever possible.
You have the internet, you have the iPods.
You have a vast array of Torah learning that's available to you at the snap of your fingers.
I learn in the cab on the way to meetings. I take my iPod and upload different classes and learn on the subway instead of just looking at the signs.
You've got so many books that have been translated to English.
Everything is just in regular modern day language that I can pick it up and in 5 minutes sort of breeze through a very deep insight that it's today's day. It's so easy.
Read it, study it, enjoy yourself.